Boom! Whoa! This story is so exciting that I want to just watch the next video, but I can't because I want to share with you some vocabulary words inside of the story we just read. The first one's really super useful. Horizon. Horizon. Now there's two meanings we're going to share with you today. One is the line at which the earth and the sky appear to meet. The second is the end of the limit of a person's knowledge, experience, or interest. And we also often say to broaden someone's horizons. Like after you watch this video, boom! We are going to broaden your horizons about Christmas. I promise. I swear. It's going to happen. To broaden someone's horizons means to give them a greater future. 就是比较漂亮的未来. Now here's some sentences I want to share with you. Yesterday, when the sun rose above the horizon and over the forest, each tree seemed to shoot forth its own shadow. Yesterday, when the sun rose above the horizon and over the forest, each tree seemed to shoot forth its own shadow. Now, the next sentence relates to our story. As Scrooge looked over the horizon after the spirit opened the window, all he could see was thousands of ghosts, goblins, and ghouls flying about, making loud moaning sounds. As Scrooge looked over the horizon after the spirit opened the window, all he could see was thousands of ghosts, goblins, and ghouls flying about, making loud moaning sounds. Kyumbo. Let's go to the next one. I'm scared. The next word is transparent. And like you know, Dr. J loves etymology. So trans is across. Parent means you can see, it's there, okay? So transparent means that it's going across, okay? So the two meanings of this word transparent is one, something that allows light to pass through it so no one can see what's on the other side. And the other one is something that's easy to perceive or detect. Okay, so let's read the first sentence. The reason Scrooge was so spellbound by Marley's ghost was because it was so transparent that he could see the buttons on the other side of its coat. The reason Scrooge was so spellbound by Marley's ghost was because it was so transparent that he could see the buttons on the other side of its coat. Now the next sentence is actually kind of funny. You can use this at home. My wife always says that my feelings are transparent to her. She always detects my anger at her, no matter how hard I try to hide it. My wife always says that my feelings are transparent to her. She always detects my anger at her, no matter how hard I try to hide it. Are your feelings transparent? Well, try to hide your feelings. Okay, now this is a perfect opportunity to share an idiom with you, to say, he wears his feelings on his sleeve. To wear your feelings on your sleeve is the same idea of being transparent. For example, if I see my partner do something like roll their eyes, I know that she is not happy. And that's the feeling of being transparent. Now, to wear your feelings on your sleeve means to be able to go, oh, I'm so tired today. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I can't do this video. That's where everyone knows what you're feeling. And that's being very transparent. Now, the next word is grant. And there's about 50,000 definitions of this word, so go to your dictionary, but I'm just going to tell you two. Number one means to agree to give or allow something requested to someone else. Two is to agree or admit to someone that something is true. There's other meanings, but look in the dictionary, okay? There's a lot more meanings of this word, grant. And by the way, in case you're curious, wait a minute, Dr. J, wasn't Grant a U.S. president? Yes, he was. Ulysses S. Grant was a U.S. president in the 1800s. Okay, so let's now look at our sentences here. The boss granted each intern the chance to have a 20-minute interview with him to learn as much about his company as possible. The boss granted each intern the chance to have a 20-minute interview with him to learn as much about his company as possible. Now, the next sentence is related to our story, and I love this sentence. Unhappy that he would need to pay for Bob's one-day Christmas vacation, Scrooge grants Bob his wish to take Christmas Day off so he can spend it with his family. Unhappy that he would need to pay for Bob's one-day Christmas vacation, Scrooge grants Bob his wish to take Christmas Day off so he can spend it with his family. Okay, now the next word I want to tell you, don't do drugs. We don't want you to do drugs because this word is related to drugs. And this is also hard to say. I'm going to say it 5 times for you. Hallucinate, 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 hallucinate. Okay, now hallucinate means to experience a seemingly real perception of something not actually real, especially when dreaming, sick, or taking drugs. But don't take drugs. Okay, now here's the sentence. The drug addict then started having hallucinations that we were all evil devils who wanted to steal his last hot dog from the fire. Now, if you read this to your foreign friends, they will laugh. So let's try to read it without laughing, okay? The drug addict then started having hallucinations that we were all evil devils who wanted to steal his last hot dog from the fire. Whew, that must have been a crazy party. Okay, now this sentence is related to the story. When he first sees Marley's ghost, Scrooge believes that he is merely hallucinating because he ate something bad and had a sick stomach. When he first sees Marley's ghost, Scrooge believes that he is merely hallucinating because he ate something bad and had a sick stomach. Okay, now we say this word a lot, to hallucinate. For example, if you're talking about a party and you want to say something like, oh, I drank so much last night that I started hallucinating. I saw my girlfriend or my boyfriend everywhere. Now, I don't drink, you shouldn't drink, because whenever you hallucinate, you can see crazy things and it's not good for you. Now, the next word I really love, and if you love love, then you will love this word. Spellbound. 请跟着我说 spellbound. There's 2 words. Spell is like a witch or a wizard casts a spell. And to be bound is just to be tied up and unable to move. So spellbound means that you're under a spell. And what that means is to hold the complete attention of someone or an audience as though by magic. And so spellbound is related to magic. And here's a sentence. Ian's incredible singing left the entire audience spellbound for the rest of the evening at the choir concert last night. Ian's incredible singing left the entire audience spellbound for the rest of the evening at the choir concert last night. Okay? And so Ian made everybody just, wow. Oh, my Lady Gaga, when he was singing. That means to be spellbound. Now, here's a sentence about the book. Scrooge was spellbound when the Spirit told him that he could escape a horrible fate if he changed his miserly ways. Scrooge was spellbound when the Spirit told him that he could escape a horrible fate if he changed his miserly ways. Now, spellbound is also a way for us to describe it. Let's say you go to a party and you see, let's say you're a girl, you see a guy, He's really 就是就 end 到 and you're like, oh my God, is that a God? Is that a man? That means to be spellbound. You're just sitting there and just, you can't move. Okay. Now I hope that you're the people who other people are spellbound about. Okay. So now I love those words, but what I love more than words are quotes, because a quote can teach you a lot about the context of a word. Okay, so let's read this quote. This is a very important quote. Now, it is a fact that there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was very large. It is also a fact that Scrooge had seen it night and morning during his whole residence in that place. Also, that Scrooge had as little of what is called fancy about him as any man in the city of London. Okay, now that is a really long quote. And the main idea of this quote is just to emphasize the fact that the knocker on the door was just a regular knocker. It was large, but the author wants you to know that Scrooge had seen it many times. And so this is nothing special. But when he came home that day, boom, you know what happened, right? He saw the light and he saw Marley's face in there. That's why the author tells us that. Now, here's another quote that's really beautiful. And it's a beautiful quote that I really love. The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste, and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Some few were linked together. None were free. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. Now, I'm going to read this quote again because it's so beautiful, this English. Are you ready? The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste, and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Some few were linked together. None were free. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. Now stop. I know you're thinking, Dr. J, what's going on with this quote? Well, this quote is central to the story. Because remember, Marley's ghost is wearing chains, right? And he's like going around with these chains and little boxes like, hey, change your ways, Scrooge, or you're going to be screwed. And then Scrooge is like, I'm not going to change, man. Talk to the hand because the ears aren't listening. And then the ghost leaves, and then Scrooge sees all these ghosts flying around with chains and boxes on them, and they're all crying. And then Scrooge sees and realizes and knows that he knew some of these people. So let me tell you something. Scrooge had some bad friends in his lifetime. Whoa. I don't know about you guys, but I am spellbound, enchanted, and just full of excitement to watch the next video because I can't wait. Let's watch the next video and find out what happens next.